Practically every morning for the past 12 months, I've been here at the Chatham Lighthouse to do a Facebook Live called Cape Cod Coffee Break. And the beautiful thing about the overlook is that the view of the harbor, the beach, and the Atlantic beyond is always changing. Rain or shine, cold of winter or warm summer day, the view is never the same day to day. After a few northeast storms late this winter, the sentinels who keep an eye on the beach got what they were expecting on April 1st, when the narrow strip of sand between Lighthouse Beach and South Beach finally succumbed to the powerful pounding of the Atlantic. What had been dry land just 48 hours before went from washover to full-blown breach during the April Fool's Day northeaster. What had separated Chatham Harbor and the Atlantic Ocean from Outermost Harbor and Nantucket Sound via the Southway quickly deteriorated in a matter of hours. By the next morning, fisherman Randy Saul was the first to document passage through the break, charting low tide depths of 4 to 5 feet in the center of what's coming to be known as Fool's Channel.
It's something that we're obviously going to have to watch. When the 87 break happened, the beach systems all along this area took a beating. Whether this will start that process again, or if this inlet starts to shut down and actually more sediment comes in, this area may ultimately build up.
Since 1987, when the ocean broke through North Beach directly in front of Chatham Lighthouse, Chatham Harbor and the barrier beach systems have been in a period of dynamic change. Although the beach breached further north in 2007, that channel has proved problematic. Meanwhile, the southern end of North Beach Island has continued to migrate south and west, choking the main channel for fishermen going to and from Chatham Fish Pier and the ocean. The new Fool's Channel connects the harbor channel on one end with the deep water of the old channel on the other, allowing Atlantic Ocean currents direct access to Nantucket Sound, bypassing miles of South Beach and Monomoy Island to the south. Fool's Channel could well accelerate the shoaling of the harbor channel by robbing the oceanic flow in and out of Pleasant Bay. In turn, this could then increase the flow of the North Break as the only outlet to the sea. Meanwhile, 75 fishermen dependent upon the Chatham Fish Pier on this harbor are being forced to look at alternative mooring space in Stage Harbor in Chatham and Saquatucket Harbor in Harwich. On the other hand, recreational boaters and small boat fishermen on the south side of town now have easy access to the ocean that used to require a trip around the end of Monomoy. Outermost Harbor, which had been in danger of shoaling up entirely, is now looking at the fastest and best access to the ocean. For the moment.
Interestingly, as we're seeing now at high water or near high water, there's a lot more water in here. And that's because we have now a very good, efficient connection with the open ocean.
And although the flushing of the Southway could be a boon to the town's commercial shellfishermen in the long term, the sudden influx of sand could be a problem right now.
There's already been some impacts since the break. Right on the adjacent side of the break, that was fairly viable shellfish habitat that's not existent anymore. But I'm seeing, especially with this high tide and some of this wave activity, that it could impact the other areas that were fairly well set with soft-shell clams and quahogs. It's a wait and see, but it doesn't look good for this particular area. Usually when something like this happens, shellfish will establish themselves somewhere else. So it'll take a little time, and when things equalize a little bit, there'll be other places that set up. And that's been the dynamic nature of Chatham, and why we've been fairly successful with our wild shell fisheries, is that when you lose one area, it usually comes back in another area.
Looking back over the past 30 years of breaks, shoaling, and beach creation, it's clear this is just part of the natural process here, with winners and losers. And looking further back, this 1891 chart hints at what the new Chatham Inlet might look like. Whatever the outcome, it's going to be a dramatic